Like so many JCCs throughout New Jersey and across our country, this is a wonderful, welcoming place for families, for children, for seniors, and the community at large. It's a place for recreation, for study, for cultural enrichment and conversation. It is not a place for fear. But that is exactly what individuals behind these bomb threats have aimed to do: instill fear. They invoke a history of intimidation and violence against Jewish communities that many of us would like to believe are relics of the past. But when these events take place alongside other anti-Semitic incidents, desecration of Jewish cemeteries, swastikas painted on park bridges and schools, harassment of Jewish journalists, broken windows in synagogues, we learn again that anti-Semitism is not dead, but dormant and all too easily awoken. Such vile actions cannot be met with silence. I am reminded of the famous quote of Father Niemöller, who was a prominent Protestant pastor, an outspoken critic of Hitler, who spent the last 7 years of Nazi rule in a concentration camp. He said, "First they came after the socialists, and because I was not a socialist, I did not object. And then they came after the trade unionists, and since I was not a trade unionist, I did not object. And then they came after the Jews, and since I was not a Jew, I did not object. And then they came after me, and there was no one left to object." Whether it is the defacement of property or the attempts to delegitimize the state of Israel, it is up to all of us to stand up, to stand together, and to speak out against anti-Semitism as we are united doing here today. All of us, friends and neighbors. All of us, friends and neighbors, law enforcement and faith leaders, elected officials and educators, have a responsibility to reject hatred in all of its forms. This is something I've been passionate about for decades, something that I fought for going back to when I was in the New Jersey legislature and was the author and passed New Jersey's bias crime law. In that case, to give us a sense that hatred knows no limitations. The genesis of why I wrote New Jersey's bias crime law was an infamous case called the Dockbusters, white supremacists who were beating on Indian Americans who wore a bindi as part of their religious beliefs, and ultimately were being attacked. And when they came to me as a community, they said, "We are being attacked and we need help." And of course, we reached out to law enforcement. But I realized then, after looking up the law, that if you painted a swastika on a synagogue or had a cross burning, there was an enhanced penalty. But if you committed a crime of hatred against an individual, there was none. And that ultimately led to New Jersey's bias crime law that says we may not be able to eradicate the hatred from somebody's heart, but we can send a societal message that we do not tolerate crimes of bias and hatred because of someone's race, religion, ethnic origin, or sexual orientation. And it took years to pass it. Going on to Congress, it took years of advocacy to pass the Shepard Act, which finally made it a federal hate crime to commit violence against anyone based on their race or religion or sexual orientation. So whether you are a Sikh who wears a turban, whether you are a Hindu who wears a bindi, whether you are a Muslim who wears a hijab, or a Christian who wears a cross, or a Jew who wears a Star of David, all of us understand that together we are stronger than those who hate simply because of who we are. Together, the collective glow of our humanity will cast the light on the darkness of those who hate each and every day. Diversity has been and always will be one of America's greatest strengths, one of the elements of what made this country the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And giving the showing here today, not just from Senator Booker, my colleague, the governor of the state of New Jersey, Governor Christie, my House colleagues, a whole host of local and state and county elected officials who are here, and people of different faith who join together, we will drown out this latest wave of anti-Semitism. And I am confident, as we evidence in today's arrest in Missouri, that we will find and we will prosecute those who have committed these acts of hatred. When news of these threats first broke, several of my own staffers let me know how personal this was for them. One was bar mitzvahed at a JCC not too far from here because his shul was too small for his large New Jersey family. Another played basketball at the JCC back when he dreamed more about shooting hoops in the NBA than passing laws in the United States Senate. From others, I heard about going to summer camp, attending concerts and speaker series, and taking swimming lessons. This is the good stuff in life. And the Jewish community's values are what keep the JCC doors open every day to Americans of all faiths and backgrounds. So we will not let bigotry and harassment intimidate this community, not here, not now, not ever. So today, let us not just take a stand against hate, let us stand up for tolerance. And let us raise our voices and rejoice in the reality and positivity and inclusivity fostered by JCCs right here in Tenafly, across New Jersey, and throughout our country. And as we raise our voices to speak out against hatred and anti-Semitism, we also need to protect you. That's why I am asking the administration and the Senate appropriators, along with my colleagues, to double the amount that we provide for nonprofit security under the Department of Homeland Security. I want you to know that as your senator, I stand with you. I support you, and you have my hand in friendship and the power of my office to ensure that you can continue your way of life as I wish to continue my way of life. Today we speak and stand together, and today we say we are all Jews.